Commission for Cultural and Religious Rights has released a report detailing how religion is being commercialized. eNCA's Malungelo Booi was at the Commission's report release and joins me now to speak a bit more about it. So Malungelo, I found something a bit strange about the release of this report. Initially, there seemed to be some reluctance on this part of Christian organizations in particular to what this report was trying to do, regulating religion. But it seems there's been some degree of cooperation, and there's even talk of a code of conduct. What happened?
That's right. Perhaps let's go back to why we find ourselves here. Remember in 2017, the Commission on Religion decided to conduct an investigation into the commercialization of the church and also what they call was the abuse of people's belief system in their religion. So they decided to carry out this investigation to a number of churches and interacted with as many people as possible. What came out to Lasizwe is that they're saying that a lot of shocking stuff, that some of these churches were actually being used as money-making schemes, their businesses, in fact, but also a worrying thing that some of these churches are actually breeding criminals, where women are actually become sexual victims. And this code of conduct, or the regulation of the church, if you want to put it that, they're saying that they want to deal exactly with that.
So how will it all work, Malu? I remember that Togom Kwanazitaluva during the hearings kept on asking the question of, is there a council, in as far as you religious leaders are concerned, a council that you all submit to, that you all respect and accept, something similar to the Health Professions Council that holds people account? Is that what they are talking about here now?
Well, now, remember, there's nothing that, there's no one that these churches, in fact, report to Lasizwe. They're not regulated. They do as they please. As we stand, there's about 140,000 illegal places of worship in this country. So what they're trying to do is come up with a guideline for all churches in this country. So if there are problem, it's churches themselves that will deal with this problem. But I just want us to listen to Pastor Ray McCauley. He is the convener of this forum. He says the problem really is big.
It's become very, very important for the church now to stand up and to really combat this. That we estimate over 100,000 people are functioning illegally in churches and places of worship where they have prostitution, they sell drugs. There's no accountability on the finances whatsoever. They're not in any form of a group of people, and it's become a desperate situation.
So there's even talk about registration. How will that work? What are they proposing?
So the issue here, Tulas, is that some of these churches are not registered. So if currently as things stands, if you want to register a church, it's a non-profit organization. You register with the Department of Social Development and also with SARS so that they can check if everything is above board. So some of the religious leaders are saying that we need to prioritize registering these churches, and also we need to look into whether are these actually churches, shall we classify them as non-profit organizations, because clearly they are not.
How much buy-in will there be, though, Malungelo? Because, I go back again to the time of the hearings. You had people encamping outside the headquarters of the Commission in Braamfontein, picketing and saying that if we want to eat grass, the grass helps us to be well, leave us alone. If we want to drink petrol, it's our petrol. In fact, some of them were brandishing those cups with petrol in them. So how much buy-in is there, for instance, from churches such as the ones that were in the spotlight at the time?
It's going to be interesting because now, after this meeting, this forum now has to engage each and every church, including those that have been opposing the regulation of the churches. So it's going to be interesting what they say. But obviously, judging from experience, as you rightfully said, I foresee a lot of resistance.
Yeah, I'm sure you remember the interaction with, I think it was Pastor Lesego Daniels, that
From Rabodi Ministries.
That they had focused on, and also pastors such as Pastor Motswaneng, Pastor Mboro. It will be very interesting to see. So what happens now, Malungelo, because as much as this is a Chapter 9 institution, the enforceability of what they are trying to do is in question. It's not like the public protector, where you can simply say this and that must happen, and then Parliament acts and the executive acts. In this particular case, you're talking about something that people consider to be private, religion.
That's right. In fact, Parliament has said that they will not regulate religion. In fact, that's why then this organization, the Chapter 9 institution, the Commission, has come on board and saying that, okay, we'll take this to the churches and say, you, the churches, deal with this problem. It's your problem.
So it remains...
Exactly.
I'm trying to understand then, Malungelo, what in this report will help us not see scenes where people in the name of religion endanger their lives, drink substances that are clearly harmful to human beings and have vehicles driven over them in the name of faith. Is there anything that stops this from happening?
So what they're trying to do now, Tulasizo, is that at the moment there are no guidelines for churches on what they can do and what they cannot do. What this group is trying to do, what these religious leaders are trying to do, are trying to formulate those guidelines to say, okay, if you're a religious leader, you are expected to be accountable. You're expected to exercise high levels of discipline. You're expected to respect others. You're expected to respect your congregants. You need to also uphold human rights. So at the moment, these churches do as they please because there's no guideline. One would have thought, though, to us that the Bible is the guideline that these churches must listen to. But
it will be so complex, also given that, even between themselves, some of these churches have differences. Malungelo Booi, thank you so much for coming through.